Good morning, dear student. As we are discussing about cash book, double column, and we have already learned the ground rule for making entry inside the cash book. Quickly, I revise the method of preparing double column cash book. In double column cash book, there are two columns. In double column cash book, there are two columns, cash and bank column. So the cash book start with the cash balance given in the question. Cash is always showing debit balance, so it should be put on the debit side by writing to balance BD, and the amount will be written on the cash column. If bank balance has been given, then that also be entered in the debit side bank column. If in the question bank overdraft has been given, then it will be entered on the credit side by writing by balance brought down, and it will be put on the in the bank column. After that, all the cash receipts you will enter on the debit side. This is receipt side, cash book receipt side, and the credit side is a payment side. So all the cash receipts what you are receiving, you will enter on the debit side in the cash column, and you will write name of the account from where you are receiving the cash. So suppose you are receiving cash by selling goods, then you will write to sales account. If you are receiving from the customer, then you will write to customer account and put the amount in the cash column. The same way, if you are making deposit into the bank, then it will be entered on the debit side bank column, and or you are receiving check and you are depositing, again it will be entered all the receipt through check, or you are depositing cash into the bank, that will enter on the debit side of the cash book in the bank column. All the payment made through cash will be entered on the credit side, and amount will be put on the cash in the cash column. And all the payment made through check, that will entered in the bank column of the cash book credit side. Or if you are making any withdrawal of cash from cash from bank, then that will also be entered in the credit side of the cash book bank column. So basically, credit side of the cash book bank column is a withdrawal column, or you can say it's a payment column. Whenever you make payment through check, whenever you make payment through bank, or you are withdrawing anything from the cash from the bank, then it will be entered on the credit side. After that, you make a balance. So debit side of the cash column total receipt, and credit side of the cash column is total payment. It is always be truth that total receipt of cash is more than total payment of cash. So the balance difference, or you can say the balance, will be put on the credit side by writing by balance CD, and you will write the amount, and after that you will equate the balance both the side. The same way we will balance the bank column. So this debit side is a total deposit made during the month, and this side is total withdrawal made during the month. So if receipt total deposit is more than total withdrawal, then the balance will be put, it is a favorable balance, and it will be put on the credit side. If total deposit is less than total withdrawal, then the amount, this is a situation is a overdraft, and the balance will be put on the debit side by writing to balance CD. After that, you equate the balances both the side. So this is the method of preparing cash book. Now come to the question. So this is question. Enter the following transaction in a cash book with cash and bank column. Also record necessary entries in the journal. So first transaction is given May 1st. Balance of cash in hand 15,600 and overdraft at bank is 7,400. So cash is having a debit balance, so it will be put on the debit side by writing May 1 to balance BD, and amount will be put in the cash column. The same way, bank is showing overdraft, it's an unfavorable balance and it will be entered on the credit side of the cash book by writing May 1 by balance BD, and amount will be put on the credit side. Now next transaction is further capital introduced 30,000, out of which 25,000 deposited into the bank. So 30,000 the owner has introduced capital 30,000, out of which 25,000 deposited into the bank. Means out of 30,000, 5,000 he brings in cash and 25,000 he has deposited in the firm's bank account. So we will enter this in this way. May 2 capital, 5,000 will enter in the cash book, and in the bank you will enter 25,000. There is no need to make contra entry because it is directly deposited by the owner. If you analyze the journal entry, the journal entry will be bank account debited with 25,000, cash account debited 5,000, to capital account 30,000. So next is purchase goods on credit from Mohan of the list price of 15,000 plus CGST and SGST at 6% per each. He allowed us a trade discount 20%. So the list price is 15,000. We will deduct 20%. 20% that is 3,000. So purchase price become 12,000, and 6% of 6% is 720. So we are purchasing goods on credit from Mohan. So this entry will not be recorded in the cash book because it's a credit transaction, and it will be entered in the journal proper with the journal entry. Journal entry will be purchase account debited with 12,000, CJ input CGST, input SGST 720 each, to Mohan with the sum total of the three amounts, that is 12,000 plus 720 plus 720. Now next is settle the account of Mohan by paying cash 13,000. So Mohan was supposed to be, firm has to pay Mohan the full amount, that is 13,000, 12,000, 12,000 plus 720 plus 720, that is 1440. So firm has to pay 13,440, and right now firm is making payment of 13,000 only. So Mohan has allowed discount of rupees 440. That discount received will be entered in the journal proper, and the journal entry will be discount received account Mohan account debited to discount received. And the amount what we are receiving right now in cash, that will enter on the debit side of the cash book by writing we are making payment, actually not receiving, we are making payment to the Mohan. So Mohan is the receiver and cash is going out, so we will enter on the credit side by Mohan, and we will put the amount 30,000 in cash column. Now next entry is settlement, an amount of 2500 due from Chaturvedi and Sons, written off as bad debts in the previous year, now recovered. So last year Chaturvedi and Sons has to pay 2500, and it which was treated as irrecoverable, that is bad debt. Now Chaturvedi and Sons, we are receiving 2500. So this amount 2500 is a bad debt recovered, and it's an income for the business. So it will be entered on the debit side by writing to bad debt recovered, and amount will be put in the cash column. Now next is cashed a check for rupees 7500, drew from bank for household expenses 3000, and income tax 800. Cashed a check means withdrawing money from the bank, right? So cashed a check means withdrawing money from the bank. Cashed a check means withdrawing money from the bank. Apart from this, drew from bank for household expenses 3000 and for income tax 800. So total 3800 is a drawing what he has withdrawn from the bank. So it will be entered in this way. So on 10th of May, first we will enter encashment of check by cash account 7500, this amount, and it will be entered on the debit side also. So it is a receipt side to bank account 7500, and contra entry C will be indicated in ledger folio. Apart from this, for drawings, by drawings, and we will put 3800 on the credit side. Now next transaction is sale of old chair for 500 plus CGST and SGST 6% each, payment received in cash. So we are selling old chair, that is an asset, it is going out from the business. So journal entry, if you ask, so journal entry will be cash account debited to furniture, to CGST collected, SGST collected. So 6% of 5 is 30 rupees. So it will be entered on the debit side to furniture, to output CGST, to SGST 500, 30, 30. Right. Now next is received from X on behalf of Y 2200, discount allowed 100. So we are receiving cash of 2200 on behalf of Y. So whatever the amount we are receiving, it is not belong to us, it is belong to Y. So actually in future we have to make payment to Y. So we are receiving the cash, and it is we are keeping it with us. So cash is coming into the business. So cash account debited 2200, discount allowed debited 100 to Y, that is 2300. So now discount allowed will be entered in journal proper, and what the amount we are receiving on behalf of Y will be entered on the debit side to Y 2200 cash. Now next is received a check from Naresh 4210 in full settlement of his account of 4400. So, and we are also seeing that check what we have received from Naresh, it was deposited on next day, on not next day, it is on May 22, it was sent to bank. So this whole entry, whole transaction May 20 will not be entered here. It will be entered in the journal proper, and the journal entry will be check in hand account debited, discount allowed debited with 190 rupees, and to Naresh with 4,400. Now on set 22nd, when check was sent to the bank, then that will entered in the debit side of the cash book by writing to check in hand, and the amount will be put in the bank column, right? So next is Sagar Chand, who owed us 10,000, become bankrupt and paid us 40 paise in a rupee. So the journal entry for this: bad debt account debited with 6,000, cash account debited with 4,000, to Sagar Chand 10,000. So cash we will enter here in the cash book to Sagar Chand with 4,000, and 6,000 bad debt will be shown in journal proper with the journal entry bad debt account debited to Sagar Chand with 6,000. Now next is received repayment of loan 3,600 and deposited out of it 2,000 into the bank. So repayment, we are receiving repayment and we are immediately depositing out of 3,600. We immediately deposited into the bank. Out of 3,600, 2,000 immediately deposited into the bank. So there is no need to make a contra entry, because the amount what we are receiving, we kept only 1,600 and we just immediately deposited into bank 2,000. So it is like the person who is making repayment, he has deposited directly to the bank. So we will enter on the debit side by writing two loan accounts. 1,600 we will put in the cash book and rest 2,000 will be entered in the bank. There is no need to make a contra entry. It's a direct one. So check received from, next is check received from Naresh dishonored, bank debits 20 in respect of check for bank charges. Now this is the Naresh check was dishonored, so it will be entered on the credit side with the amount of dishonoring. So the check was of 4,210, 20 we will add, then it become 4,000. We will write by Naresh and amount will be put in the bank column 4,230. Now next transaction is interest debited by bank 650, deposited with the bank the entire balance after retaining 5,000 at office. So 650, bank has debited, interest debited by bank 650 means bank has charged interest. It is bank has deducted 650 from our bank balance, so it's a decrease in bank balance and it will be entered. It is like payment we have made for interest charged by the bank, and it will be entered on the credit side by interest 650. After that, the last transaction says deposit with the bank for entire balance after retaining 5,000. It means that we should retain whatever the cash balance we are having after these transactions. We will retain 5,000 with us, and rest of it we will deposit it. In such type of transaction, we have to calculate the amount we are going to deposit in the bank. So first of all, you will calculate the total receipt. So total receipt of the cash column is 38,960, and payment total payment you will see that is, don't see this, this is you are going last one, last one, this is you are going after that. Right now, if without making last balance, we have total payment is 13,000. So total receipt is 38,960 and total payment is 13,000. We will deduct 13,000 and we got to know that it is 25,960. The balance is 25,960. Question says 5,000 retain it, rest of amount deposited. So rest of amount 25,960 minus 5,000, we will deposit to a 20,960 in the bank. So for payment, because this is a contra entry, cash is going out, So buy bank to 20,960, and on the debit side you will put 2 cash and you will write to it 20,960. Rest you are going to balance it. So total receipt on the cash column is 38,960. Now total payment become 33,960. So balance 5,000 automatically remain, and we will equate both the side. The same way, receipt of the bank column is total receipt or total deposit in the bank is 52,170, and it was total withdrawal we have made during the month is 23,580. So balance 28,590 will be entered on the credit side by balance CD, and we will equate both the sides. And next month we will brought down the balances of cash. So we have a balance of cash is 500 and cash balance 28,590. 590. That's all for the day, children. Thank you very much.